So before the video begins, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of the video, Fan to Fan Network. Now what the Fan to Fan Network is, it's a network for you guys, for the fans, giving you unbiased and real analysis and perspective. If you guys are tired of the mainstream media, if you're tired of the same old watered down biased takes, and you want a different perspective, unbiased, uncut, and real, make sure that you guys go ahead and check out the Fan to Fan Network. They're going to be streaming live streams almost every day on Twitch. The link will be down in the description, in the comment section down below. Make sure you guys go ahead and check out the Fan to Fan.
Growing up as a kid, all a nigga wanna have was a Burberry scarf and $3 in my pocket. Instead I got beat with a switch, but I don't give a fuck, but it's on my body. Scars all up on me, but I run around from.
What is up, everybody? It's JT Sports, and I'm back to you guys with another video. This video, I'm going to be predicting the 10 best offenses in the NFL going into the 2020 NFL season. Now, I normally do this video every year since I've been on YouTube. I've been doing this for the last 2 years, and I really enjoy making these kind of videos when you have to do research and give your rankings, predicting how good teams are going to be going into the start of the NFL season. Now, normally these videos don't really get a lot of views, but I really enjoy making them. So before I get into it, make sure that you guys hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I upload NFL videos and college football videos daily. And also make sure to follow me on my social media platforms. My Instagram and my Twitter is both JTSports_. You can follow me on both of those down in the description down below. Click that link. It should take you to all of my pages. So without further ado, let's get into it. So at number 10, I have the Detroit Lions. Now, the Detroit Lions being on this list may be a surprise to a good majority of you guys watching, but the reason why I think Detroit is going to have a really good offense and why I feel they'll have one of the 10 best offenses in the NFL this season is because last year, before Matthew Stafford got injured, they had a really good offense, and Matthew Stafford was playing like an MVP candidate. Marvin Jones, Kenny Galladay were pretty much a really good receiving core. Then you also had rookie TJ Hawkinson in there as well. Then you also had Kerryon Johnson. Now you go into this season, you pair Kerryon Johnson up with DeAndre Swift. You got Kenny Galladay and Marvin Jones, who, if Marvin Jones is able to stay healthy, that's going to help as well. And you got TJ Hawkinson, who's going into his second year. So this offense, under offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell, without a doubt in my head, if Matthew Stafford stays healthy and doesn't get injured, they should have a top 10 offense. So you look at the fact that Detroit didn't really have that consistent of a running game last season. It hasn't even just been last season. Like, the Detroit Lions haven't had a really good running game since the start of, what, 2013, I believe it was, or 2012. I don't remember, but I mean, it was one of those years when Reggie Bush was going crazy for the Detroit Lions for like the first few weeks. Then he ended up getting injured, and pretty much that went down. But aside from that, they haven't really had a really consistent running game. So you pair that up with the fact they're going to have a really good group of halfbacks with Swift and Kerryon Johnson. You look at the weapons they have in the passing game, and Matthew Stafford being able to stay fully healthy, I think they should be able to have one of the 10 best offenses in the NFL. At number 9, I have the New Orleans Saints. Now, the New Orleans Saints were really close to not making this list. Now, the reason why I did put them on this list is because they picked up Emmanuel Sanders. They didn't really have that big of a flashy free agency, but Emmanuel Sanders is a really good sign. And here's why. The New Orleans Saints, for like the last 3 seasons, have been looking for another wide receiver to pair up with Michael Thomas, and they haven't really been able to find that. Now, they really have found that with Emmanuel Sanders. Now, Emmanuel Sanders at this point in his career isn't a true number 1 wide receiver anymore, although he was the best receiver on the 49ers roster last season. He was a big reason why they were able to get to the Super Bowl. But now you pair him up with Michael Thomas, the New Orleans Saints finally have number 2 wide receiver that they've been looking for the last few seasons. So you give Drew Brees, Emmanuel Sanders, and Michael Thomas, pairing that up with the fact that they have Jared Cook at tight end, and you got Alvin Kamara in the backfield, you got a pretty solid offensive line. I think the New Orleans Saints should once again have a top 10 offense this season. At number 8, I have the Seattle Seahawks. Now, the Seattle Seahawks, this is a team that basically has had some fairly solid offenses, with the fact that you know, they have Russell Wilson, who is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL, but they also are going to have a pretty good receiving core. DK Metcalf is going to have a breakout year. He already really had a breakout year last year as a rookie, but I think he is going to elevate his game and take his game to the next level this upcoming NFL season. Then you also look at the fact that Seattle had injuries at the halfback position, so you address that. They should have a couple of their guys coming back fully healthy. Then the offensive line should look to get a little bit better as well. So I think Seattle should have a top 10 offense this year. This is a team that loves to run the football. And of course, you got Russell Wilson, one of the best quarterbacks in the game as well, who can run. He's also very accurate as well. And you got Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf. So I think Seattle is going to have a really solid offense this year. And I think they're going to have a top 10 offense. And another thing that a lot of people aren't really talking about is the offensive line. I think Seattle could probably end up having one of their best offensive lines that they have had in a very long time. So that is one of the biggest reasons why I think Seattle is going to have a top 10 offense this year. And I have them at number 8. At number 7, I have the Arizona Cardinals. Now, the Arizona Cardinals are one of the few teams on this list that didn't have a top 10 offense from 2019, but I think that they will have a top 10 offense this year because you bring in DeAndre Hopkins. Now, a lot of people are probably going to be like, oh, JT, he's not enough to elevate this offense from where they were last season to a top 10 offense. And I would have to disagree with that because one thing that the Arizona Cardinals didn't really have, it didn't really have a wide receiver that was really consistent and winning one-on-one matchups, especially against man-to-man coverage. So you bring in DeAndre Hopkins. DeAndre Hopkins, 95% of the time, gets open if he's covered in one-on-one man-to-man situations. And also you look at Kyler Murray, who has one of the best arms in the NFL and also is really accurate. He's going to be able to connect with DeAndre Hopkins on a lot of 50-50 balls, a lot of those one-on-one situations. He's also going to be a really good target inside the red zone. And not only just DeAndre Hopkins, but you also bring in Kenyon Drake. The Arizona Cardinals, they kind of struggled running the football to start the season, the first half of the season. Then they bring in Kenyon Drake, who was a better fit than David Johnson because Kenyon Drake just fits the offense a little bit better. Kenyon Drake was never really a good fit in Miami because Miami's offense never really fit Kenyon Drake's skill set. Well, now you put him in the Cliff Kingsbury offense, which is basically shotgun and pistol based, not really a lot of the things getting done underneath center. That's where Kenyon Drake excels best. And with the Arizona Cardinals being able to run the football and them not having to overly rely on the passing game, even though the air raid offense is basically built around the passing game, with the fact that they're going to be able to run the football, that's going to take some of the pressure off Kyler Murray to have to do everything. It's also going to help the offensive line be a little bit better because they're not going to have to sit back there and pass protect for like 40, 50 times a game. So I think this Arizona Cardinals offense should be really good this year. Have them at number 7. At number 6, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They brought in Tom Brady. You bring in Rob Gronkowski. You get Tristan Wirfs and the first round of this past year's NFL draft. I think without a doubt, nobody should really argue with the fact about Tampa Bay being on this list. Now, some Buccaneer fans are probably going to make the argument that Tampa Bay should be a lot higher, like they should be top 5. But when you look at Tom Brady, like although Tom Brady has a really talented supporting cast, he's not Jameis Winston. He's not super aggressive. And when you look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense, they benefit, although Jameis Winston turned the ball over at like a historical rate, he was really aggressive, and that really benefited guys like Mike Evans and Chris Godwin because although this offense is going to be more efficient, they're still not going to have that same pop that they had with Jameis Winston because Jameis Winston is going to be Jameis Winston won't be here to force the ball in the tight windows, and Tom Brady is a lot smarter. He's not going to get overly aggressive like what Winston was. So you also bring in the fact they got Rock and Gronkowski, and I also think with Tom Brady there, they are probably going to be a little bit more balanced when it comes to the offensive mentality. I think they're going to try to run the ball a little bit more compared to what they did last season. And I think they should be more successful running the ball this season than what they were last season. So, all in all, this is going to be a top 10 offense. I just don't think they're going to be a top 5 offense because you're not going to have Jameis Winston back there. You're going to have Tom Brady there who is going to have that same aggressiveness that Jameis Winston had. At number 5, I have the Dallas Cowboys. Now, the Dallas Cowboys, you bring in head coach Mike McCarthy. The Dallas Cowboys had the top 5 offense last year, and I think something with Mike McCarthy that I want to see is I want to see if Mike McCarthy is going to be committed to running the football. That's something that he wasn't able to do his last few seasons remaining in Green Bay, and when he got fired, he kind of had to humble himself. He got too overly reliant on Aaron Rodgers. So with him learning from his past mistakes in Green Bay, Dallas should have a really good offense. You already got CeeDee Lamb, you got Michael Gallup, you got Amari Cooper, you got Ezekiel Elliott, you got one of the best offensive lines in the NFL. So the Dallas Cowboys, without a doubt, should have a top 5 offense, and I think they're going to have one of the best offenses in the NFL this season. At number 4, I have the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Atlanta Falcons have always had a really great offense over the last few seasons. Like, the defense gives up a lot of points, but the Atlanta Falcons put up a lot of points in bunches. And they have the most first-rounders on any roster than any other team in the NFL, I believe. At least from an offensive standpoint. I think they have, like, 10 out of 12 or, like, 11 out of 12 of their starters this season with former first-round picks. You look at Calvin Ridley. You look at Julio Jones. They bring in Hayden Hurst in a trade with the Baltimore Ravens. The offensive line battled some injuries last season. You also got Todd Gurley, who, if he's able to stay healthy, without a doubt, the Atlanta Falcons are going to have a top 5 offense. And the Atlanta Falcons have always had a really good attack offensively. So, if everybody stays healthy, without a doubt, the Atlanta Falcons are going to continue to be really good on the offensive side of football. At number 3, I have the Baltimore Ravens. Now, I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to be really good. I think they may take a little bit of a step back. I'm not going to say they're going to take a little bit of a step back, but I just don't think they're going to have like a number 1 or number 2 offense. I think they're going to be number 3 this year because I think that Lamar Jackson is going to be a better passer. And also, I think they're going to run the ball a lot more than what they did last year with their running backs because they bring in J.K. Dobbins. You bring in Mark Ingram. Well, you already still have Mark Ingram as well. So, I think the Baltimore Ravens are going to run the football a lot more with their halfbacks than using Lamar Jackson on design quarterback runs and things like that. And then plus you look at the fact that Lamar Jackson is going to be an efficient passer as well. So I still think the Baltimore Ravens are going to have a really good offense, one of the best offenses in the NFL. I just feel these offenses that are ahead of them are going to be a little bit better. At number 2, I had the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Patrick Mahomes, has one of the best arms in the NFL. You still have basically the same entire offense. You got Sammy Watkins. You got Mecole Hardman going into year 2. You got Tyreek Hill. You got Travis Kelce. You got Clyde Edwards-Helaire as well, who's going to be a really good option in the passing game as well for the Chiefs this season. So I think the Kansas City Chiefs are probably going to end up having the second best offense in the NFL this season. And they still have their offensive coordinator who somehow, Eric Bieniemy wasn't able to get a head coaching job. I think that's absolute robbery. But I don't think he's going to remain the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs for much longer because I think without a doubt next season around this time he should have a head coaching job. And before I get into my number 1, I'm going to give out my 2 honorable mentions. These are the 2 teams that almost made my list, but I couldn't quite put them on there. You got the LA Rams. I don't really know what to think about the LA Rams. I have questions about their offensive line. Are they going to be effective running the football this season? Then the 49ers. The 49ers, when it comes to the receiving core, you got Brandon Ayuk, but we don't really know if he's going to step in and contribute right away because we know rookie wide receivers normally take a couple of weeks to pop. Then Deebo Samuel, he's battling some kind of injury, so he may be out. We don't really know the timetable for his return. We know he's going to play sometime this season, but we don't know how many weeks he's going to miss. Then you got George Kittle, who's going to be really solid. But, I mean, other than that, I think the 49ers are probably going to run the football a little bit more than what they did last season, which is why I think they're going to be a little bit more down because you're not going to have those pass numbers to kind of inflate the total offense numbers. So that's why I don't have the 49ers and the Rams on my list for 10 of the best teams who are going to have the best offenses in the NFL this season. And at number 1, I have the Philadelphia Eagles. I already made a video talking about why I feel the Philadelphia Eagles can have the best offense in the NFL. Something that has plagued the Eagles over the last few seasons has been their lack of depth at the wide receiver position. They addressed that in the NFL draft. You get John Hightower from Boise State. You get Jalen Reagor in the first round from TCU. You pick up Marquise Goodwin. You got Deshaun Jackson. You got Alshon Jeffrey. You got Zach Ertz, one of the best tight ends in the NFL. You got a pretty good offensive line, although you did have one guy that ended up getting injured. But all in all, if Carson Wentz stays healthy, you got Miles Sanders in the backfield. I think the Philadelphia Eagles will have the best offense in the NFL if everybody stays healthy. So this is it for me predicting the 10 best offenses in the NFL for this upcoming NFL season. Let me know what you guys think about this list. Let me know if I have a team too high or a team too low. Let me know if I'm missing a team. Make sure that you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel for more NFL videos and content. And thanks for watching.